How about friends, very good morning. Have all you netizens interested in this spectacular book of biomagnetic pairs? I have already told you many times this is a gem in biomagnetism, believe me, because it has more than 25,000 symptoms, 2,400 biomagnetic pairs. We are in the 13th edition. Here it is. 13th edition is an excellent reference book so that you can do your task as a biomagnetologist much faster, such as tracking and depolarizing your patient. Let's see the contents. What do you think? Well, first of all, I want to tell you that this book has a myriad of symptoms. Quite a few symptoms. For example, if I want to go to prostatitis, it brings the most common diseases. Of course, we have prostatitis here. In this sense, is it divided into bacteria? If you, for example, want to track for bacteria, if it comes out, yes, if it brings any bacteria, they will track for each of these bacteria. If it brings parasites, they'll still track it. For every one of the parasites, same with viruses, same with fungi, if they are dysfunctional pairs, or here we have a special Isaac or K pair. Here are all the most common pairs. For example, we look at the rectus prostate, we click on the hyperlink, and it will send us precisely to the biomagnetic partner, which is the rectus prostate. Here, if you fix it, it has two circles. A white circle with an N in the middle means that you are going to place a magnet of negative polarity towards the patient's body. And when it is simply a white circle, you are going to place a magnet of positive polarity towards the patient's body. In this sense, it is the right as positive. What about the prostate, the negative? Here we have the description of the pair, which is what cures. And we also have the pathogen, which in this sense is a virus, which is papillomavirus or K, because the book is full of hyperlinks. All the numbers you see from here on the left side are full of hyperlinks, and everyone takes you to the image you require. For the description of the image, for the description of the biomagnetic pair, so that you can correctly place each one of the pairs. Here, for example, we have the quick program. This is made up of a group complex, a complex by complex C. Also has a complementary program that is pubic, which is for when patients have problems. Urogenital or infections. Here we have the emotional ones. If you want to start with the emotional ones, that's fine, because you are going to talk to your patient. You are going to take him by the hand to eliminate everything that is a conflict. It is an emotional conflict that they have. If, for example, they have depression, they have distress, they have disgust, they have low self-esteem, confusion. It is important that you talk to your patient so that they can give you details. What is the conflict they are currently having? And these biomagnetic couples is going to help them a lot to confront that emotion that they have. Here is at the front. We're going to put a magnet on the right side. Positive in the front area, in the upper part, one negative, same as in the left part, one negative, and in the back of the head. Because many people are confused by this image, we are going to put on the right side a negative, one positive magnet on the left side, and on one side of the earlobe, a positive magnet. In summary, I would begin with complex A on the first day, followed by the pathology that the patient has. For example, here's the first trace. I would start with this first screening to see what my patient really brings. One of the most important pairs is liver. Liver, as you can visualize here, if we put liver, it is because the patient has liver disease, whether it has heart disease, hemorrhoids, or any disease that is here. You are going to do a general scan of the patient's body so that you know how his constitution is and what diseases or what organ dysfunctions the patient has. We also have reservoirs. You can start with universal reservoirs, reservoirs of general bacteria, reservoirs of specific bacteria, reservoirs of general parasites, reservoirs of specific parasites of viruses, also general and specific, and of fungi. It is very important that they know that it is a reservoir. A reservoir is a pathogen that is hosted in your body, which is like sleeping, which doesn't hurt you, but over time it can cause illness and a deficit in your immune system. Here, for example, if you want to track, you already want to do a general examination. Do you want to do a general trace? You're leaving in alphabetical order. Here, for example, it says alphabetical pairs. You go from A to Z. And all the ones you stop that come out polarized are the ones you are going to put here. For example, if the patient already brings a result of a clinical analysis and brings a bacteria, here are all the bacteria that may exist, but the most common rather here. For example, if the patient has vertemulitic strep, here are the biomagnetic pairs. To impact, if you start tracking and you get each of these pairs, it means that the patient brings precisely the hemolytic Streptococcus vete or K specifically. Here are bacteria, here are parasites, here are viruses, here are fungi, here is symbiosis. What is symbiosis? The binding of several pathogens that produce a disease. Here are the emotional symptoms. If, for example, if my patient has depression, he has anxiety, he has disorders due to some emotion, here come all the biomagnetic pairs for certain types of diseases. Here's a map. Where are you going to see what biomagnetic couples are going to put in the body? All right? To the problem it brings, here are all the biomagnetic points, so you can place them. Here everything is excellent. Here it comes from the face, from the back, laterally, from the back of the body. Here's also some pairs from the waist down. The book is super good. It is considered a gem in biomagnetism. That is why I suggest that you acquire it now, because it is really a great acquisition that you are going to make, because you are going to make your healings much faster. I tell you that each symptom brings a hyperlink that takes you to the description of the symptom, to the image of where you should place the magnets, and if this is very good for you to register, give my channel a like today. If you like this video and have any questions, I will leave the information below so that you can contact us and we can make a deal with you. The book is really not expensive. You are only going to pay $180. We are going to the 13th edition. You have the right to have the 17th edition that is also going to end. In acupuncture, we are going to convert acupuncture into biomagnetic pairs. It will have all the meridians. That is, you will be able to track and depolarize both with biomagnetism and with acupuncture. And if you want to apply acupressure, or if you are already an acupuncturist, you can also apply the acupuncture. How about needles? What do you think is good? I won't say goodbye if I don't tell you until later. If you are interested, contact me with pleasure. I will follow up on your request. $180, nothing more. The update will last 2-3 months or a little more, but you will already have the book of biomagnetic pairs with this that we have. You can do great healings, believe me. A hug, and may God bless you always. Bye.
Generate by AI.